Hi, Rose here. I thought I might make a video on part of my waking up, share how I felt and what I was thinking. I remember when I first allowed myself to start looking at anything outside of the organization, the emotions that went with it, I was shocked. Shocked. I could not believe what I was learning. I'd never learned any of that information in all of my studies, and I studied hard. A while back, I went to go visit some friends who I've known my entire life, and they were really good friends while I was growing up. I was over at their house all the time. Something happened, so I felt the need to visit them. When I walked through the door, I had all these emotions that hit me because of the smells, because of the memories. It hit me what I would lose if anybody found out what I was learning at the time. I came home and I cried in bed for at least a day and a half. I couldn't get myself under control. Recently I did a video on disfellowshipping, how Nathan Knorr instituted it in 1952, and what it actually does, how it separates you completely from everyone you know. And that's what I was thinking. I didn't know anybody outside of the organization. I had this huge family. My family came in the 1930s through my grandparents and actually my great-grandparents. So I don't know anybody outside of the organization, and at over 50, it's harder to make friends. Recently, my father was asked to give a talk in the congregation that I'm at, and I couldn't understand it. He's in his 80s, and I'm 5 minutes away. So why would they make him drive that far to come to my hall and give a talk? I panicked. I hadn't been to a meeting in a while. And I didn't even go on Zoom. I would watch it on KHCOM just for any announcements or any new light that we might get, but my face was never there. And I was thinking before COVID, when everybody was at the congregation, in the congregation at the meetings, and they would talk. When you ask about something, that person hasn't been around for a while. We haven't seen that person. And that's all I could think about. Was that going to happen when my father gave a talk at the Kingdom Hall? I knew I was probably going to have to go there. And I didn't know what was going to happen. I was scared. I was so scared. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was panicked for 6 weeks, only to have our meetings canceled due to COVID, thankfully, and he gave his talk by Zoom. Now I find out that there's a lot of people that don't go to the Kingdom Halls anymore. They just go on Zoom. But that feeling, how can an organization have so much control over an adult, someone in their 50s? I didn't get it. I didn't realize ever before just how much control they had. While I was doing that video on disfellowshipping, all I could think about were how many families have been affected because of this disfellowshipping rule that Nathan Knorr instituted. How many children have been cut off from their parents? I had one commenter say that grown adults are not children. So why did I say compare adults to children? Well, to a parent, they are your children no matter how old you get. My children are. I call them my children. So yes, adult children are affected if they are not able to speak to their parents or speak to their children or speak to any of their friends. Like I said, everyone I know is in the organization. Everyone. My family came into the organization in the 1930s. They had huge families. One grandparent had 10 siblings, the other 11. And you can imagine how that just sprawls out from there, right? That's my family. Now think about all the multiple congregations that I have been in over the years and those friends that I've met. I would lose every single person that I know. How is that a loving arrangement? How can that possibly be loving? It's not what the Bible states. I had some commenters state that I wasn't using Scripture. I was being emotional. But I did use Scripture. I did show how prior to 1952, disfellowshipping was looked down upon in the organization. The article that Nathan Knorr put out regarding excommunication in the Catholic Church, how wrong it was and how unscriptural it was. And then he turned around and instituted the same thing. So I don't know how he can go from something being unloving and unscriptural to putting it in as law. And now it affects how many people around the world. 80,000 witnesses get disfellowshipped every year. 2/3 of that don't get reinstated. 2/3 of that don't get reinstated, which means they're cut off from their family, from their friends, from everybody they know. And if they're older like me, it's hard making friends outside of the organization. So what are they supposed to do? And that's why so many stay quiet, stay PMO, physically in, but mentally out. Mentally, they know about the organization, they know about everything, but they have to stay physically in order not to get disassociated or disfellowshipped. How loving is that? What loving God would even think about cutting families apart? I know the scripture where Jesus says that he would come in to divide families, but that wasn't because of rules. That was because there were going to be those who would go against their family members who followed Jesus. Not any broken rule. They wouldn't turn their backs on them because of a broken rule. Anyhow, I just wanted to share this. To anyone out there listening to this who has been disfellowshipped for divisiveness, because you spoke out about your questions regarding the organization, the governing body, anything. Or those who have been disfellowshipped because the elders didn't think that they were repentant enough, or they haven't been reinstated because the elders didn't think or don't think that they are repentant enough. My heart goes out to you. I hope you're okay. I hope you find true friends that will stay by you and not cut you off because that's what they were told. Anyhow, I hope you all are having a wonderful day. And as I stated, the video on how Nathan, Nora, and Fran changed the date from 606 BCE, as was taught under Russell and Rutherford, to 607 BCE. What all witnesses believe today. So, I hope you come back to watch that video. Take care, everybody. And I guess instead of thank you for watching, thank you for listening.